The most prestigious Czech and Slovak virtual racing series is back. The best drivers from Czechia and Slovakia, competing in 12 races on iRacing. Who is going to win the championship trophy? That's Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP 2021. Hello, we are back after the long summer break to resume the 2021 Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP season. Today we'll be heading to the legendary Monza in Italy for the 9th round of this season and 3rd in the single-seaters. My name is Justin Sutton, and joining me for today's action, it is, of course, Chris Buxton.
Our final haunt over here in Europe, it is the Temple of Speed. Anyone who's a fan of racing knows Monza. It is a wonderful track, and still at the top of the tree are the two LPs. It is Lucas Podstata for Entropic and Lucas Pichada for ERT. But Eric Vizzi and Martin Siritek still locked in their battle for 3rd, and lots of battling further. And look at that, Alice Danda and Stanislav Senol for Electra just 1 point apart. Same for Korony and Rizovsky as well, so plenty of fighting going on. We had some slightly more unusual point scoring last time out, but with some very technical tracks after this one, it is going to be amazing to see how this championship concludes. Entropic with still a fairly short lead over ERT. It just could go any direction at all. It's going to be absolutely fantastic right to the line. Here is the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. It is, of course, brilliant sunshine. What else would you find in Italy? It's warm and it's ready to rumble.
The starting grid for today, it is Lucas Podstata on pole position alongside Eric Vizzi for Lenovo Legion. 0.4 of a second off, though, so a pretty commanding pole position there. Lubomir Moritz way up in 3rd position and ahead of championship contender Lucas Pichada. That is surprising. The other Pichada brother, David, down in 5th position alongside Michael Lehman on the 3rd row of the grid. Then it's Martin Siritek alongside Krejci, Ryszowski alongside Nadlik, rounding out the top 10, but still within 1 second, so it really does tighten up outside after that first row. Thomas Hora, Hansa Reiger, Alice Danda, and Jan Sikora in 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th, respectively, and still within 2 seconds of the pole time. Then we have Stanislav Senol, usually better in the race than he is in qualifying, starting down from 15th position alongside Vakulchek, then Korony and Kujela on the 9th row of the grid. Stepanovsky and Matuszek bringing up right at the rear there. Unfortunate for Matuszek there. And then Kovarik, and then unfortunately Thomas Prohaska not able to make the race today, but we do have plenty of cars on the grid and prepared to go racing. It's been a long summer, it's been a long wait, but the drivers are preparing to go racing once again. The lights are coming on, they're about to go out here at Monza in Italy for the race here at Monza, and we're away. It looks like a good start, actually. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No. It was not a good start at all. It's all at the back, thankfully, where it seems we've run into some issues, but I'm seeing 5 cars at a minimum being involved in that one. A couple more cars not just having to be very, very cautious, you can see, and trying to make their way through, and you can see that is a heavily damaged front nose cone on whoever that was, barely getting going. I think they were missing a wheel as well, too. Yep, there is a wheel missing on that car indeed. Front wing all sorts of messed up on that. I think that was the Mecha All for Sim car there. We're going to have to... Look at that. I admire the perseverance. I admire the competitive spirit to get back to the pits. But and indeed, this may be a full course yellow, actually. We may see... we can see the yellow is out at the moment. So that might be great news for those that were caught up in that early incident. But thankfully, anyway, it wasn't at the front, Chris. So it was cars in the midfield and towards the back. It wasn't the championship contenders.
No, indeed. So safety car is out and everybody is under safety car regulation. That's why no one is jostling for position right now. And I suspect they may be that way for a while. But Podstarter hanging on to his lead. He was under a little bit of pressure for a brief moment. And then, to be honest, I couldn't really look at what he was going on there because absolute chaos behind. So it looks like Nadlik, Vukulchek and Kujela, so both the Benzina Orlans are, well, pretty much out of the running, really. Even if they return to the track, they're going to be a very long way back. Oh dear, oh dear. And that is Krejci for Mecha All Sim. He was the one that was taking an alternate route. That's determination. There is Martin Nadlik, very briefly, as we saw. So Lucas Brachada is... well, he'll just be chomping at the bit, ready to go. Ready? They're already leaving fourth behind. Come on, Eric, come on, catch up. No need to leave such a big gap there. Well, so several people a little bit rusty, it would seem, for their race starts after the summer break, which, I mean, to a point is to be expected. But these cars are very unforgiving, as has been proven many times, but that I didn't expect to see. Of all the issues you could have tried to... Yeah, if you could have put money on this will happen, that wasn't what I was going to suggest. Not for Monza. If I was expecting an issue into the Rettifilia, the first chicane, yes, but not before we got there.
Yeah, I would agree. Under-braking for the first chicane is a far more common place to actually run into some contact or run into some other cars. Unfortunately, Rieger has dropped back into 12th position. It was... not ideal for him, or he's actually dropped down. So he's not had the best of starts. 12th. Okay, thank you very much. It was a little bit more. It was Moritz that started high up. I'm sorry, I got confused by the Ricard drivers. And here we go. I noted. Yeah, I think Nadlik was the highest position. I think he started in 10th place. Oh no, the car ahead. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's so unfortunate. But if there's one thing we've learned about these cars is that they aren't just very difficult to control, as you were touching on, Chris, but also they are quite delicate. With the new damage model, you can see just how much damage was done to that front left, just from that seemingly innocuous contact. It seemed like very, very light contact between the two of them. But again, these open wheel cars really cannot take too much physical contact with one another. And unfortunately, I do think that is going to be at least a couple of drivers probably out entirely, because the repair time and everything is just going to be way too long for them to get back into it. So that would be truly unfortunate if that was the case. But again, we do still have everybody up at the front. It looks like it was 10th and back that were having a little bit of an issue, and it was those that started on right side of the grid, especially, of course, after getting caught up. I don't remember who started ahead of Nadlik, though, in 8th position, so I don't know who it was that had that slow getaway.
No, I can't remember either. Unfortunately, so I didn't make a note of the starting positions either. I think we'll be behind the safety car, like you say, for a little while, because that was a lot of mess to have to deal with, even in the sim racing world. Debris and such is a problem, and you do not want to be flying down the start-finish straight with bits of wing and what have you lying in the track. So that is going to have to be dealt with. So that will, of course, reduce the race time. That's going to be very warm under there, Mr. Thomas Horror. I know, I'm a VI user, and I know how warm he gets under there, even without having to work feverishly to get these cars around. Even a track like Monza that doesn't necessarily have a lot of steering in it, just the amount of concentration and the actual physical force going on, especially if they're using direct drive wheels. I've seen drivers come out in an absolute ball of sweat after using VR. Not that that's a criticism of VR. Like I say, I'm a VR user and I absolutely love it. But yeah, it does. Whilst it does have the immersion, it does leave you a little bit perspiring. They do get rather warm. as well. Fastest lap is changing hands. Well, that's good to know. That's unfortunately a little bit pointless to know at this stage, of course. So yeah, not really a lot we can talk about at this stage. I think Senol has come in as well. Because some people can use this opportunity to pit and change tyres if they so feel like it. Most people are going for the softer tyres. Few people on the hard. So Danda, Stepanovsky and Kovarik. That's the black highlighted tyre icon in the tower. Indicates the harder tyre. The red marked tyre, of course, is the softs, which most people are on. There is Lubomir Moritz, a great qualifying for him, as we mentioned earlier, for the Ricart team. That's got to be his best qualifying all season long. There is Lucas Machado. He will not want Michael Lehmann in his way, but we've seen Lehmann's done this before. He's been, he's shown a few flashes of real strong performance. He's been up towards the sharper end before, just not as consistently as he would like. Eric Vizzi right behind one of our championship protagonists there, really giving the car a good old shake. Stanislav Senol is back on track, so he's been through the pits. Now that could work to his advantage, as everybody will have to come through the pits at some point, and he's already served his stop, but it really depends on how long we're going to be behind the safety car for. Did I just see, that's not a surprise, Peter Kajela has retired. I wouldn't be surprised if everybody that's stood in the pits chooses to do the same. I was just about to note that the safety car lights are off, so that will be back racing when they come around again. That's Nadlig, that's both of the Benzina Roland cars out. There's Krejci. So that's one of the Mecca for all sim cars. I think Vikulchik is the only one that hasn't been announced as retiring. And there it is. So that's not a surprise. Like you said, the repair time was just too long. At least they didn't just give up, in fairness. They would have done the quick recovery, so that puts them in the pit immediately, but it does add something like 2 minutes to the repair time, let alone what the repair time actually is. Safety car in this lap, as indicated by, of course, that notification, but also the safety car lights are off. Wait, yeah, okay, Eric, your tyres are warm now. I think he's also probably excited to get back underway again. Certainly Lucas Machado looks set to get underway. Now, they can't just gallop off at the moment because the safety car is still there, or pace car as it's otherwise known. That is going to have to disappear into the pits. And there we go. That's what I was just about to say, that Lucas Postata is going to back the pack up. I don't think there is a penalty for backing it up too far, although you don't want people clunking into each other behind the safety car. I've seen it happen. We've all seen it happen, but they're going to have to be careful about how they deploy all the horses. It's already bitten 4 drivers. Let's see how the restart is handled. Of course, they're up to racing speed. Well, will be up to racing speed a bit easier than they were from a standstill. So hopefully we're not going to see too much kind of wheel spins and snaps. So it's now down to Lucas Mostata of Entropic, and when he floors it, but he's got a lot of sharks right behind him.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of an intense one. Of course, they will be mobile, and it sounds like they're throttling up now as we prepare to go racing once again, heading down the start-finish straight. Are we going to see? We can see some push-to-pass already being used. We can see some drivers already staying over to the right-hand side. That's Lubomir Moritz moving far over to the right-hand side, and that's Eric Vizzi doing some swerving as well. I don't know if he was trying to get into the slipstream or what it was, but Pozzato will continue to lead. Lubomir Moritz is indeed going to be overtaken by David Pichata, and he's going to be coming under attack from Martin Sirotek as well, so he's going to drop down all the way to 7th. His teammate is the next car, actually, that's going to be thinking about possibly coming at him after that great start. So unfortunately, Moritz, or Rieger dropping down, Moritz climbing up on the restart. Here we go, side by side into the second chicane, though. Rysovsky side by side with the TP Link car, and he is going to unfortunately lose out on that one. So Rysovsky is going to be in 13th position for the meantime. Into the 2 Lesmos now with Green Flag Racing once again. Thank goodness for that. And then down towards Ascari they descend. And at the front, it is still Putzstade that leads the way. Lehmann right behind him in the Mecha All-4 Sim car. And then a decently sized gap down to Lucas Pichata, actually. And then Eric Vizzi as well, a similarly sized gap. You can see already starting to spread out a little bit here, Chris.
Yeah, quicker than I was expecting indeed. But people there are probably just being a little bit cautious after what's already happened. Oh my, you say that. Rozovsky has got a lot of company. Oh my goodness me, the TP link car of Jan Seeker had nearly been slammed into there. That's Matuszek that's trying to make up for lost ground. Now, he had a qualifying ban following an incident at the last race. That's why he was having to start from the back. He's already up to 12th. I'd be helped by the fact that 4 cars have, of course, detonated, but he's still made his way past several people as lots of fighting going on behind. There's Jan Seeker that's trying to defend against Rozovsky from the Lenovo Legion car. Does manage to do so into the Rettifilio, into the first chicane, and away he goes into Curva Grande, still chasing the back of the second Entropic car. Right behind them is Stepanovsky in the big shot car, trying to do something about... That is Senol, I believe it is, that he's racing against. Whoa, that's deep! Yeah, whoa, how the hell did you slow that down? I thought Stanislav Senol was just going to sail off there. But also bear in mind that he's been in the pits already, so that's quite a fresh set of tyres on that Electra X car. So we'll see how what he's able to do. Wow, Michael Lehman. I was just noting, actually, that Michael Lehman was really close to Podstada coming into Ascari. But the Entropic cars had an absolutely belting run through that chicane. Michael Lehman starting in 6th is now up into second place. Well, up into second before, of course, the safety car came out, and that's... Oh, there is Senol! Oh, no, all that progress he's made has just been binned. Oh, that's a great shame.
That's unfortunate. It's an easy place, though, Ascari. You're relying a lot on the curbs. You're carrying a lot of speed into it. There's that change of direction in the middle of it as well, too. So certainly easily understandable how somebody could make that mistake, but that is going to drop Senna all the way down to what is now last place in 17th position. But Michael Lehman not able to get by Podstada on the run down towards the first chicane. Let's see what he can do with the second chicane as he makes his way through Curva Grande. Is he going to go to the left? Is he going to go to the right? It looks like Podstada is not going to defend the inside line, but then again, Lehman's not going to be able to pull alongside as they get into the chicane, so he's going to have to follow through. For the meantime, the back end just stepping out ever so slightly, and you can be certain Lucas Pichata would have noticed that, and certainly would be thinking that potentially Michael Lehman, he could be on for a mistake up ahead, so he's going to be making sure. Look at that, Matuszek already up to 11th position from starting in 20th, so it's been a good race for him, and let's see exactly what happened to Stanislav Senol. There is the entrance to Ascari, and there is, and I was exactly right, he got a bit too heavy on the curbing at the inside of the corner there, halfway through it. And unfortunately, that's going to put him right at the back. He's got some good pace, though, so he could potentially make up some more time. He's still plenty of racing still to go, but certainly that's going to put him on the back foot.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm still impressed with that catch from Michael Lehman, signing him up to the baseball team. That was a great catch he did there. As the two Ricard cars now together, Lubomir Moritz in 7th and Riger in 8th position. That is Thomas Horror for Big Shot. He's got that charging Matuszek from Entropic, and here we go on board with the number 42 car. Going to now be in the top 10. Oh, this is going to be interesting. That's Thomas Corney. Had no answer to that whatsoever with the slipstream and push the pass going on. That's 2 positions. Matuszek has just gained. Can he hold on to it? He's very slow coming through the Rettifilio. Can he out-drag the Big Car? He's using a lot of his push to pass very early on, though. So this could bite him as the race goes on, but he's now into 9th. He gained 2 positions in that one move alone. That was fantastic from the number 42. That was brilliantly done as Thomas Horror looks on in the Big Shot car. That's the Viva Manish Danda, the second of the Electrax cars, coming into the first Lesmo. Keep it nice and steady. The second one's a little bit cambered, so you can attack that one a little bit more. But even Podstata feeling the need to use some push to pass. Now this is how many, I think this is how many push to passes are remaining. So it's actually Siratek that's got the least amount remaining on 4. So he's used an awful lot. Kavarek's got 2. So yeah, if you look at our pitters, they've all got bar 1. They've all got their full accompaniment of 10. So this is how many they have left, and Kavarek down to just 2 remaining. Eric Vizzi apparently hasn't used any. That's a great effort there, but it gives an indication of actually Matuszek has only used 3 of them, which is a lot in the first few laps, but not as many as I was expecting there. As Eric Vizzi sizing up a move on Lucas Pichata. Now he's ducked out of that one. Now these two have cross-swords quite a number of times in the past. But, wow, Lucas Bucciardo seems not to have the pace of the top two. Usually, Lucas Bucciardo is in the top two.
Yeah. Usually he's got about a 50% chance of leading the top two, I would say, roughly. But instead he's got Eric Vizzi for company in that battle for the third place position. Also worth noting that Lubomir Moritz had also not deployed any push to pass, which would explain why he has been dropping down from third on the grid. There you go. You can see he's lost 4 positions. Which is the most positions out of everybody in the top 10 that have been lost. Vizzi is the only other person to have lost positions in the top 10, in fact, and that was from second on the grid. But again, also hasn't used any push to pass. So that could potentially tell you that both Moritz and Vizzi are holding back, and they're thinking of the long game and stuff like that. Or it means that both of them made a mistake not using their push to pass early enough in the race to defend some of those positions. Because, I rather think that, you probably do want to use push to pass on the opening lap or in the first couple of laps at least once or twice to try and, if not make some overtakes, then at least defend. But I will say, if there's any place where you can easily overtake, it is here, as is made evident by Eric Vizzi as he takes third place from Lucas Bucciardo in the ERT racing car. A little bit further back from that, it looks like Moritz and Sirotech are going to be battling into the first chicane. Again, Sirotech was the driver that had used the most push to pass in the early stages of the race, but he's got Moritz coming back at him now, and he's retaken that position, and we'll see if the other car of Jan Rieger can manage to do that too. Very, very close yet again for third position, but Lucas Bucciardo stays behind for the meantime. Let's see if these two can maybe work together to try and pull a little bit closer to Podstata and Lehman, because of course they've built now an almost 3-second gap to this pairing.
Do you really think that's possible? Well, I mean, in fairness, it is possible. But,
possible? Yes. Likely?
No. Yeah, exactly that. I mean, they're races through and through, so we'll see. We could be completely proven wrong, but it does seem that Lucas Bucciardo just does not have the pace. Does he have damage that we haven't seen? Is his setup just not working right? He just does not. That's very odd to see Lucas Bucciardo just falling and falling and falling. He's back into his starting position now, but look at Eric Vizzi. He's just dancing away. How peculiar, but we'll see. That could, turn the tides later on. We have absolutely no idea what's going through his mind right now. We're only commentators, we're not telepaths. He's got a big gap back to his brother David Bucciardo, who's got Lubomir Moritz for the Recant Sim team for company. That's about a 5th position that goes on as we continue to look at Lucas Bucciardo trying to stay in the tyre tracks of Eric Vizzi's already got himself a second's gap. That pretty much nullifies. Oh no, that's Rosowski, and who's he caught up with? That's Sikora. Yeah, that's the TP Link car that they come together. It's so easy to do. These things slow down very, very well, but as soon as they lock, that's it. You've lost all your braking efficiency, and these things just don't bounce off each other very well. The GT3 cars that we had at the beginning part of the season, you can get away with a bit of banging with those things, but with these, not a chance. We jump to... Now, this is the battle for 5th position, so this is David Bucciardo, Lubomir Moritz, and Sirotech in the lead of the ESET cars. Not far behind is actually Rieger in the second Recart car. So a great battle. Lubomir Moritz all over the back of David Bucciardo at the moment for ERT. And David Bucciardo, we know, is no slouch. So Lubomir Moritz is having a great run.
I love seeing the primary colors all being represented in this group of 3 cars. The red, yellow, blue going on here between these 3 is fantastic. Moritz all over the back. I tell you, I've just not been a racing driver for long enough. You can see Moritz actually has already deployed his push to pass. So is Sirotech actually. So I'm gonna switch from that thought over to the overtake, because it looks like Moritz is gonna make it pretty early down the straight. Actually, no push to pass defense from Lucas Bucciardo, but no surprise there. I think he thought that he was gonna lose that position, push to pass or not, and here I assume we're going to see that Rosowski-Sikora incident, and there is Rosowski pulling to the inside, getting onto the brakes, as they get into that first chicane. You can see the car just moving around ever so slightly, and yep, I'm going to say I think that's Roshovsky on that one, and I think that's why he waited for Sikora on that one as well, too. So probably no penalty as a result of that, because he was stationary and waited for Sikora, which we love to see. We love good sportsmanship here at VGP. So it's great to see, but yeah, that's unfortunate. You could see about 100 meters before the corner that an accident was coming, because that car was switching.
Yeah, he was braking with everything he could muster without the brakes locking up, but yeah, no, he just could not keep that hard enough over to the right-hand side to prevent an incident. And like you say, he waited for Jan Sikora to regain that position. So yeah, fair play as Kovarik and Senol have come into the pits at the tail end of the field. They could be trying something different. Now, Senol's been through the pits already once, but I suspect he had damage because he did go backwards into the wall following his spin at Ascari a few laps ago. As we continue to look at this battle for 6th position, so David Pachada is behind Lubomir Moritz now. There's Ryger in the second of the recart cars on the back of Siratek. It's the ESET car, and there's Matuszek continuing his incredible charge. And what is going on with now? For a brief moment there, Podstata was listed in second. I think that was a mistake. Oh, that's a lockup from Ryger, and well spotted by Siratek. He saw that the recart car was slightly locking up there and actually gave the necessary room and then cut back underneath. Matuszek trying to go inside on the inside line. That's dangerous at Curva Grande, trying to squeeze between a car and the wall of that kind of speed. Yeah, he backed out of that one. He gave it a good go, but nothing coming. He wasn't prepared to slam his car into the wall as a result of it. Has a look on the inside and that's a shame. He did hit the wall, so I'm not surprised that has happened. So Senol has decided to park the Electrax car. And Matuszek trying what he can to get past what's happened to Peter Kovarik. Deck spin, he's... Okay, that's what happened. So it had nothing to do with the earlier incident. It was Kovarik was trying to avoid an incident and has caused damage to his own car. That's why Kovarik came in, or is in. So Senol had another incident down there at Ascari, and sadly wasn't the only one involved in it this time, as Ryger now down to 9th, as Matuszek has managed to get past the recart car.
Let's see if anybody's going to be using any push to pass, making any sort of overtakes. It looks like Rieger is going to be tucked into that slipstream of Matuszek. Let's see if he's actually going to do anything. Matuszek is going to move to the inside line just to defend as they get into the braking zone now for that first chicane. It looks like the recart car is a little bit later on the brakes, but with that inside line advantage, Matuszek is able to hold on to that position for the meantime. Looks like Stepanovsky is using some push to pass, but that's a little bit further back, and it looks like that's just for lap time. That's not for any sort of position changes or anything like that. Meanwhile, the other Entropic car, we've had a look at one Entropic car a little bit further up the road. It is the other Entropic of Podstata. He's got the Mecha Alfredsson of Lehman behind him, and it's still about what it was. We've seen it kind of shrinking and enlarging, and shrinking and enlarging, a bit of an accordion sort of effect going on, but definitely keeping Podstata quite serious here. He's really got to think about he cannot make any sort of mistakes whatsoever, because Lehman is right there. And I have to say, Lehman has been one of those drivers where I feel like almost we've just been waiting. We've just been waiting for that race win to come through, because it's just been a really impressive season for him. Alex Danda, here we go. The one remaining Electra X car is going to be making a move on the ESET car. We got some pitters at the front as well. Yeah, the leaders have all come into the pits aside from Eric Vizzi. I love it. Eric Vizzi doing something a little bit different.
Good man. Why not? So that's 5 cars in. Podstata, Lehman, both Bachadas, and Siratek have all decided to come in at once. Now, as a reminder, there's not shared pit boxes. That's Kovarik actually coming back out. Considering that he clouted against Senol a few laps ago, fair play, he's decided to come back out on track. And with the crazy nature we've already seen of this race, don't blame him either. You've no idea what's going to happen as the race goes on, as Podstata slots in behind. That is Rozovsky in the second Lenovo Legion car. Is he going to try and hold up the Entropic car? I don't think he had a choice. As Podstata has just dumped the throttle and hit that push to pass. Through he goes. I think Rosowski is like, yeah, I'm not really in a fight with you. You crack on. As following the mighty Entropic guy, still Michael Lehman. If anything, he's a little bit closer post-pit stop. So great effort there. Michael Lehman having probably the race of his season so far. There is Aerovisi leading the way. I would imagine he is going to be in fairly soon if he hasn't been already. Oh, that got twitchy coming into Parabolica. Is he coming in this time? Yes, I think. Yes, he is. I thought he was hugging that apex line. That's a lovely back shot from Thomas Horan. Now you can see Thomas Corney and Alesh Danda in that fight for 5th position. Well, it's going to come 4th unless they all come in. They don't look particularly interested in the pit lane entrance. Just as I say that, they all come in. So you can expect that battle to continue. Top 7 all in now. Stepanovsky is probably going to come in. Hans going to... Yep, there he is. There's a big shot car coming as well. So pretty much resuming exactly where we left off. There is the ever cool Lucas Pudstarter. Well, he is always looks. He never looks flustered. It's absolutely incredible. Michael Lehman is pushing hard to try and stay with him. There's Eric Vizzi coming back out. Now, is that Lucas Pudstarter rather ahead of him? I think it is.
Yes.
It is. So Lucas Pudstarter has regained that 3rd position. But they are 6 seconds behind the leaders. That's very rare for Lucas Pudstarter. So maybe he's just been saving it for this last stint. Of course, as you can see, they've all changed tyres now. Also, I was going to say keep an eye on Senol, but of course he's retired now from that incident because he pitted during the safety car phase. A few people did. Lubomir, oh wow! You can see there Michael Lehman pushing hard on that harder compound tyre, nearly flying off the road coming through the Lesmos. There's Lucas Pudstarter. Wow, he's suddenly got himself a big gap between his... comparatively big gap between himself. He did, but he also pitted a lap earlier, so he's got a bit more heat in those tyres. Can he close down that gap between himself and the leaders with 27 minutes to go? I mean, who knows? Maybe this was what Lucas Pudstarter was waiting for. Maybe he's a bit more comfortable on these tyres. David Pudstarter's all the way down in 15th. What on earth has happened to the second ERT car?
And still in the pits as well, or back in the pits, as the case may be. Not entirely sure on that one, but certainly something has fallen afoul of the second ERT racing car, because remember, there was a time where actually they were running 4th and 5th, and they were running right next to each other, and now David has been lapped by his brother, which is something that really does not happen very often.
Whoa,
as they switch over to Corny. Oh, and the other ESET car is coming under attack from Matuszek in the Entropic car. And it looks like he's going to make short work of him. A little bit of push to pass. That was with the benefit of push to pass down that start-finish straight. You can see some smoke up ahead, and that is actually from the recart car of Lubomir Moritz. He's going to drop down a couple of positions as a result of that one, so that's unfortunate for him. He's on the soft compound of tire right now, but I could have sworn he was on the soft compound of tire earlier as well, which would indicate that he is going to be stopping a second time at some point here in the future, potentially. So
could well be. So completely lost track of who's pitted for what and when. Lubomir Moritz, he got the braking for the rest of the video all wrong and ended up skipping over the chicane, so he had to slow down. He would have been given a warning from the game. Oh, hello, Michael Lehman. Well. He's suddenly on the back of Lucas Pudstarter. Now, that was about, 1.2 seconds, I think, between the two. It very obviously isn't now. Well, is Pudstarter really starting to feel the pressure from Michael Lehman? If he's going to try and make a charge, he may have done a little bit early, but we'll see. Let's see what the lap times were last time around. 31.7, 31.3. So it wasn't a drastically bad lap from Pudstarter. It was just a very good one. Ooh, always makes me wince when you get that, like I said, that accordion effect going on. Oh, a bit of tail misbehaving there from Michael Lehman's car. Oh, is Lucas Pudstarter under a bit of pressure, or is he going to say, "No, you've had your fun, I'm going to now run off into the distance"?
This is a fantastic battle. And by the way, I did have a look, and Michael Lehman's best finish of the season so far is 3rd position. That was at Zolder, and I remember that race, actually, and how well he performed. But that's his only podium appearance. and he hasn't finished inside the top 10 since the Nürburgring, actually. So last couple of races have not been so great. So maybe this is vengeance for him. This is him getting back into the positions where he believes he should be. And he has been one of the more inconsistent drivers that we've had, but also one of the quickest drivers that we have seen, certainly. And certainly one of the quickest rookies that we've seen as well too. And if he could just, reliably be on this kind of pace for the rest of the season, then that would be fantastic. Imagine if Lucas Pichata and Eric Vizzi were just a little bit closer as well too. I am envisioning a 4-way battle for the lead at some point in the future, and I would like that to happen now, please. If we could get that would be fantastic. But yeah, it's very interesting sort of scenarios we're seeing play out here at Monza. Some interesting, and by the way, just as an update, David Pichata is still stationary in the pit, so something has happened to him, unfortunately, which means we are down to just 13 cars on the lead lap as it stands right now. So it's proving to be quite difficult for these drivers, but Monza always is a little bit of a challenge, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you think that Monza is, of course, a power track. It doesn't have all that many very big braking zones, but as a result of that, it's really, really hard to make up time anywhere. As that would be probably what upset the timing tower, is a bit of lag from the starter. So that's probably what upset the timing tower earlier. That's why someone might just vanish. Is one of the joys of one thing that sim racing has to deal with is lag, and it is quite unnerving if you're following someone and they just poof out of his existence. It can be a little bit scary. But also something else worth noting is that we have the 3 remaining circuits of the season after this one are all really, really quite challenging. Well, they're all challenging in their own way, you can argue. But we head stateside next time out for Road America. Oh, what a track. And there is David Pichata. We've just been talking about him. And there he was in the pit lane. And he's been there for several laps. So something major has happened to him. We have no idea what. Well, there you go. That's how long he's been in there for. If you can convert.
It's a 4-minute pit stop.
Yeah. I don't think you can blame the pit crew for that one. Great shame. I wonder if we'll catch up with what happened with David Pichata in a while. Still, Michael Lehman just maintaining less than a second gap. He's just about hanging on to an effective slipstream rate. It's around about 0.8 of a second, give or take, in these things, which 0.8 of a second at 300 kilometers an hour is still quite a distance. Whoa, someone's tail. That's Thomas Corney. The ESEC car getting very sideways, coming out of Retifidio, being chased by Alice Dander for Electrax. Heading down towards Del Rogia. They're going to be side by side. They're giving it a go. As Jan Seeker has come into the pits? No, I think this the tower getting slightly mistaken. You do cross the pit line entry from the final turn, so that can upset the tower sometimes. Stander not quite getting the momentum he needs to make the move, but still keeping the pressure on Thomas Corney. Lesmo, that looked okay. You don't normally make a move down into Ascari. It can happen, but you need to kind of started it well before now if you're going to do that. So, great fight for 9th. Aha, here it is. What happened to you, Mr. Pichata? I'm not actually sure which one's older. I was going to say Pichata Jr., but I don't know which one of the brothers is actually younger. Oh, wow, a big snap. So what's happened there? He's had an oversteer moment, probably locked the brakes up. Coming into Parabolica, and as he's gone to correct it, all the grip has happened, and that has seen the end of David Pichata's race. And there you can just see for yourself the look of disappointment as we've just seen one of the VR Dexfin cars, well, the only one running. So there's got to be Kovarik that is in the middle of that chicane, also getting out of people's way, more than likely. There is Kovarik. Because bear in mind, he's several laps down, so he will be getting out of everybody's way. Oh, that's Matuszek now up into 5th place. 15 positions up from where he started. He's one of the quickest cars out there. As he's gone past Lubomir Moritz now, coming through the Lesmos. Just nothing can seem to stop Matuszek's incredible pace. But Michael Lehman is still hanging on to the back of Lucas Buxton. Their lap times are still just bonkers fast. These guys, as I've mentioned before, these guys, their personal bests in the wet are what I can ever hope for in the dry. So these are truly alien times that we see from these guys. But it's the consistency that is really winning out. And Lucas Buxton is just been absolutely incredible, but he has not had it his own way. Certainly this race, several races indeed, we've said that, where he's just not been able to. Early on in the season, he really did dance off into the distance, and then Lucas Buxton would do the same thing the following week, on and on and on. But Michael Lehman has really stepped up to the plate brilliantly well to nick an American Freightold.
Yeah, really impressive stuff, and they've really separated themselves from the rest of the field. I know we were talking about how Moritz and Vizzy. Speak of the devil, Moritz right there on the back of Matuszek. We were speaking about how little push-to-pass they had actually used. But in fact, a lot of the race has gone on now, and it's an even bigger gap. We're seeing over 8 seconds now between the top two, and Lucas Buxton down in third position. Unfortunately for Vizzy, though, he has continued to drop off. It's 3 seconds now. It's not much more than it was just after the pit stop phase, but it is a little bit bigger, but this is the main battle at the moment, you could say, that we're focusing on, Matuszek and Moritz. Matuszek took that fifth place position, but Moritz is actually sticking to the back of him pretty well. A 32.8 last lap is not the fastest of laps, but Matuszek, it seems, has slowed down a little bit as well. 32.7 last lap, so that's just allowing Moritz to keep. Yeah, that was not a good. It seemed like he was lacking a lot of confidence in the turn in there. Was Lubomir Moritz, so I think that is going to lose him a little bit of time relative to Matuszek there, which is unfortunately going to drop him out of the slipstream range, which means he's going to be a little bit slower, which means he is definitely going to be coming under attack from Martin Sirotek in the ESET car behind, who you could just see in the distance there lurking behind the Ricart car and potentially looking to take that position away. And Thomas Hora in the leading Big Shot car. He as well is not that far off, just another handful of seconds behind Sirotek. So we got 4 cars running relatively close to one another. Matuszek with a much quicker lap that time, 32.4, whereas Moritz, that mistake in Ascari, I think, is what caused him to slow down a little bit, that 133.1. But you can see he still actually is sort of keeping up to the back of Matuszek pretty well. That run down to the first chicane and then that run down to the second chicane, he must have been close enough, or potentially used the push-to-pass that I didn't see, just to keep up to the back of Matuszek. And it's actually worked out quite well for him. Sirotek is still more than 2 seconds back. I think he's just outside the slipstream range. If Sirotek is getting any sort of slipstream, it is very, very light. But yeah, this pairing still pretty close to one another, but Matuszek does seem ever so slightly quicker. We'll see if Moritz can hang on to the back.
I mean, Moritz has got nothing to be ashamed of being unable to hang on to the back of Matuszek, because he has been absolutely blisteringly quick all race long. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if Lubomir Moritz has burnt the best out of those soft tyres as well.
Yes.
As we jump back to the lead battle, look at the lap time difference. 0.02 of a second. That is all, and in Buxton's favour. So they are just matching pace, lap after lap after lap, and I cannot tell you how hard that is. And they are pushing very, very hard. They're leaving very little on the table, and to do that lap after lap after lap. One of the drivers, of course, has got his eyes on the mirrors the whole time. He knows if he makes any mistake, well, most people have burnt up all their push to pass. Actually, Michael Lehman has got a couple more than Lucas Buxton does. That may well. It's not a massive difference, but at the right time, it can be the difference you need. So Jan Seacrest managed to hang on to 7 of them, probably because he's been involved in a few incidents of his own. He may not feel the need to actually use them as well. So that will of course be up to him. But those 2 push-to-pass differences may be what Michael Lehman needs just to overhaul that gap between himself and Buxton. I think he still needs a mistake from the Entropic driver. But also bear in mind, we have not had a race winner whose initials haven't been LP all season long. Oh, wow! Well caught! That's not the first time you've made an amazing save there, Mr. Lehman. My goodness me. And, well, I was talking about a mistake being needing to be made. It wasn't quite what I meant. You didn't need to display it, sir. That is going to cost Michael Lehman some valuable time. Now, that may not necessarily cost him masses in lap time, but what it will probably do is drop him out of that all-important slipstream, and that has been helping him undoubtedly maintain the gap between himself and Lucas Postata. He's probably going to have to use those extra push-to-passes to close that gap down. We will see. But it looks like he's already done it, but of course, bearing in mind braking zones and what have you, that's what Michael Lehman has been staring at all race long. So he's not only had to maintain this incredible pace, hitting his braking points, and you can see how easy it is for a mistake to happen and to lose bucket loads of time. He's done brilliantly well to actually close that back down again. But consistency is always king. Raw pace is good, but if you're spinning off every few minutes, it's all for nothing. But these two have just maintained incredible consistency and pace all race long. Well, starters have all maintained it all season long. As Postata was just a little bit quicker going through Ascari. It's going to help him potentially break slipstream range. This is where it went wrong for Michael Lehman last time around. There's the lag moment again from the Entropic car. And you see there, I'm not quite sure how Michael Lehman did that. I wonder if he just kind of hit push to pass at just the wrong moment. But yeah, you can see he's now starting to use them to try and close that gap down. He needs to maintain that slipstream, maintain the slipstream distance between himself and Michael Lehman and Lucas Postata. Is that Lucas Postata in the pits?
I think so.
No, from fourth. It is. Oh no, from fourth position with only less than 13 minutes to go.
That's very interesting. Now, I had noticed that Eric Vizzi was catching up to him, and in fact, I noticed that Lucas Postata had deployed some push-to-pass in order to try and keep Eric Vizzi out of his slipstream range, because he was starting to get within 2 seconds or so. And that, I don't know, I think that is just a planned stop. He's come out onto the softs, and I wonder if Lucas Postata just genuinely thinks that this is actually the strategy to go on here. With 12 minutes to go in this session, it has dropped him down into 10th position. It's dropped him. He's lost about 30 seconds. So he's got about 10 minutes to make up 30 seconds, which is a lot. And I would say it's not enough on its own. He has to bank on Eric Vizzi's tires really falling apart, I think. Or really his tires were just falling apart, and it was this or risk a puncture and end up slipping back. It looks like Ian Sikora in the TP link has come into the pits as well, too. Not sure if that's a planned stop. Here we go. We got Postata and Lehman, both of the leaders, into the pits now. So this is very interesting. So this seems to be all planned. And I wonder if this is down to fuel. I wonder if the cars are just incapable of doing a one-stop at Monza because of how much flat-out driving you do throughout the course of this lap. Eric Vizzi stays out once again. He stayed out later than everybody else the last time they came into the pits, though. His last lap time was a 1:31.9, which is very competitive. And as I mentioned, he was closing up on Lucas Postata, so Eric Vizzi could potentially be a real dark horse towards the end of this race here, Chris.
Can you imagine that? Oh, that could be amazing. But also, if someone is going to brave it and do one stop less than everybody else, if they can just keep their tyres just about good enough, that could be the biggest difference. As that's Thomas Horror really staying out of the way. You've been in the pits. I'm not interested in that. In fair play to Thomas Horror there for Big Shock. He's let Postata and Lehman through. Postata has gone onto the soft tyres, according to the tower. That's going to be near impossible for Michael Lehman to stay with if indeed he's remained on those hard tyres. So we can't see Lucas Postata's car from there. But yeah, that's going to have to be qualifying kind of pace for Postata, assuming that the three cars ahead of him don't pit. I would imagine they're all going to. I think you're right. Either the fuel is just not holding out or the tyres just aren't doing it. We will see. 10 minutes to go. It's still anyone's game. It's still anything can happen at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not prepared to make any sort of predictions. Thomas Horror, I was going to say, actually, has been having a bit of a quiet race. He's got an Entropic car coming out of the pits just as he's getting onto the brakes into the first chicane, and he's locked it up. And that makes things very easy for Podstata and for Michael Lehman as well, too, as they navigate their way around the big shot car. And Thomas Hora does come into the pits as well. He's got Alish Danda coming in behind him. Thomas Corney looking like he wants to make an overtake heading into the pit lane there. And Eric Vizzi has been into the pit, so he just pitted a little bit later. He has gone on to a set of the soft compounded tires. So everybody's going on to the softs except for Michael Lehman. I don't know if that was a mistake or a choice by the Mecha All for Sim driver, but I think it was the wrong choice if it was indeed intentional, because I do think that the softs will have no problem making it to the end of the race, especially with that little fuel on board for 13 minutes or less, depending on when you came into the pits for that set of softs. And you can see by the difference in the gap, you can see the 2.3 second gap now between Podstata and Lehman, that it is, in fact, at the moment anyway, proving to be the wrong call. But we'll see what happens over the course of the next 8.5 minutes or so. But it is Podstata that now leads by 2.5 seconds.
Well, they came out of the pits, almost line astern. So that's gone wrong for Michael Lehman after the pit stop. Or it's just, Podstata has now decided to use his right foot a bit more heavily. Or a combination of both factors. Yeah, those very fresh soft tyres are going to be paying dividends for the Entropic driver. They're now first and fourth. Absolutely unreal considering where Matuszek started. And that's going to have a very big impact on the team championship as well, because there's only one ERT car running now, with us losing David Machado earlier on, as we watch Thomas Corney chasing Thomas Hora in the Big Shot car, or Big Shot versus ESET, for 9th place. Just ahead of us is Alish Danda. Oh, well caught there for Thomas Hora. That's going to give the momentum to Corney. The Big Shot car goes to the defensive line, coming down into the Parabolica. Oh, is he going to try and outbrake him? Is he going to try and outbrake him coming into Parabolica? Nicely done if you can do it. Would move, Thomas Corney. That unfortunately does leave you very open for a counter-attack, but that was a great move. You don't often see an outside move around the entirety of Parabolica. And this is partly why, is because the straight is so long that you are susceptible to a counter-attack. Oh, Thomas Hora. That must have been pixels apart. That must have been so close. Eric Vizzi, he's in the pits again.
Oh no!
He's just been in. So Eric Vizzi now down in. I'm sure he's just been in. I'm sure he came out in 4th, didn't he? Yeah. So he's now out in 12th. Oh no, Eric Vizzi, what happened to you? Maybe you made a mistake in the pits. Maybe you didn't fuel enough or something. Oh no, that was just looking so good. But yeah, you go. You can see stop 3 for Eric Vizzi. You never want to see it, but something's gone. I have a feeling that was a pit stop error that's happened. The car looks okay. He didn't seem to have a abnormally long stop, which would indicate he's not got damage. So I'm assuming that's a pit stop error for Eric Vizzi.
Yeah, maybe just didn't fuel the car or something like that, which would be really, really unfortunate to have something like that happen if indeed that is the case. But he went from being the guy that we thought maybe was going to one-stop to the only person that's unfortunately 3-stopping. So maybe that's on us for jinxing him on that one. We apologize for that one, Eric Vizzi. But he is back out on a set of softs. He's got Roshovsky ahead about 11 seconds. Roshovsky's on softs as well, too. Or excuse me, Stepanovsky is the next car up the road. Sorry, I was looking at Stepanovsky there. He's 6 seconds up the road. But again, also on soft, 6 minutes. I don't know. Vizzi might be able to pick up a position if he's lucky, but Stepanovsky certainly is a competent enough driver and is on fresh enough soft tires that I think probably he's going to be all right. Matuszek all the way up into 4th position. And what a result today is going to be if things finish the way they are right now, then it will be an absolutely enormous day for Entropic, finishing 1st and 4th, with, of course, the ERT racing team only having one car finishing and not even in 2nd position because, of course, Michael Lehman has unfortunately taken that position. Unfortunately for ERT racing, but very fortunately for Mecha All for Sim. who will be very happy about the. Unfortunately, there's only one Mecha All for Sim in this race, though. Krejci in the other car was one of those early retirements in that incident at the start of the race, and there is Matuszek. I don't think he's going to be gaining any further positions. You can see, yeah, there's no other cars in sight. Lucas Pajada is quite a ways down the road. He's got a couple extra push-to-passes. You can actually see Lubomir Moritz in the background using some push-to-pass on the start-finish straight in an effort to potentially try and catch up to Matuszek or to try and defend from Sirotech behind in the ESEC car, who has 0 push-to-pass remaining and who may come under attack from Alish Danda, actually, now that I think about it here, Chris. So that battle for 6th could be on with just over 4 minutes to go.
Indeed, indeed. I think, like you say, the drivers are going to need a bit of luck. No matter what battle they're realistically in, they're going to need some luck to go their way for that to change, as everybody is fairly well spread out to be able to defend their positions. As we look at Eric Vizzi, what might have been... How many times have we said this? We said this a lot, didn't we? The tail end of last season, that Eric Vizzi just would have these brilliant moments and luck would bite him. A few inexperienced moments last time round, but I am pretty sure that's a pit stop error, whether of his own making or not. That, I think, is what's just sent him tumbling down through the field, as we look at Lucas Podstata catching up to the back of what I believe is Jan Segera. 3 seconds now between himself and Michael Lehmann. Unless Lucas Podstata has some kind of issue, he's going to be sailing to another win, I believe the 5th of the season for the Intrepid car. So indeed you have to... Whoa, there's Eric. Is that Eric? No, it's Rozovsky is the other Lenovo Legion car on the back of Thomas Horo, who's gone a little bit too wide on the exit of Ascari. That's taken all his momentum away, and thank you very much, I'll have 9th position, says Rozovsky. But of course that's going to leave him open to counter-attack after Parabolica, as we saw earlier on in the race. Well, wow, he carried a lot of momentum through there. Thomas Horo was still trying to regain some of that momentum, which is very difficult to do because that's a very fast section of the circuit. If you make a mistake, you carry that mistake a very, very long way before you then hit the brakes again and try and regain some of that time lost. There is, as mentioned, Thomas Horo trying to get back on terms with Rozovsky. It's going to go the way of Lenovo Legion in that particular scrap. We just saw Thomas Corney at the top of the shot. 2.5 minutes to go. And what a race it's been.
Yeah, really enjoyed this one. Unfortunately, we lost a number of cars. We only had 21 to start with today. It's rare for us to not have a full grid of cars racing in VGP. So already being down one was unfortunate, but then losing out, and it was really nobody's fault on that. Somebody got a bad start, somebody couldn't get out of the way. Chaos ensued. That's just it's 1 + 1 = 2 when it comes to Monza and difficult starts and single seaters and all that kind of stuff. So really unfortunate, but we still did get this extremely fantastic race. We got battling up at the front up until Michael Lehmann decided to go onto the hard tires. Interestingly, I think Podstata maybe is just taking care of those softs, but the gap actually hasn't grown all that much since growing to about 2.5 seconds. It further grew to about 3.3 where it is now, but it's pretty much stabilized since then. Let's see if Rozovsky is going to be able to pick up another position in the dying moments of this race. He's going to be slipping into that slipstream of Thomas Corney. No push to pass for the Lenovo Legion car, but he is going to find the inside line in the braking zone for that first chicane, and he is going to be late enough on the brakes, and with that inside line is going to rather easily actually take that 8th place position. And he's got a push to pass here that he can use in order to defend from Thomas Corney as well. I don't think he's going to be close enough to be pressuring Danda at any point. You can see Vizzi is getting closer and closer to Stepanovsky, but unfortunately for him, I was right in my assessment earlier, which is just not enough time and a bit too much pace on that big shot car for Vizzi to actually gain any position. So I think it is going to be P12 in the end for that Lenovo Legion car. I bet you Rozovsky did not think that he was going to be the leading Lenovo Legion car in this race when the checkered flag fell. And that is Podstata crossing the line here, by the way, which means this is going to be the final lap now. Michael Lehmann 3.4 seconds back. Like I said, I think Podstata is just kind of taking it easy a little bit there. And this is Thomas Corney. This is still the end of the penultimate lap for them because, of course, Podstata here is up on the lead lap. Matuszek using some push to pass. That's not to defend or anything like that. That's just because he has it remaining and it's the final lap. Moritz using some push to pass, as is Alish Danda. But again, none of those are going to be for position or anything like that. In the case of Moritz, I think he's defending from Sirotech, but that's essentially it. Roshovsky does still have some push to pass to play with. He's closed up a little bit more on Alish Danda, but again, it's not going to be enough to actually see him gaining any additional positions. So we can see Alish Danda actually using some push to pass to defend that 7th place. And that is a solid 7th place finish, actually, for Alish Danda. Another team that unfortunately only has one car, but Lucas Podstata on the rundown towards Parabolica into the final braking zone of the race. He can take it as easy as he likes and really hug that inside line. Yeah, not running out wide at all. We get the finger point, we get the thumbs up. Podstata had a pretty much perfect race really on that one. No surprises that he's happy about that. Michael Lehman with a fantastic race, his 2nd podium appearance of the season and his highest finish ever. Lucas Podstata, though, a little bit further down. I think we thought that he would be challenging up at the front a little bit more, but Matuszek, possibly driver of the day here, Chris, with that drive from 20th to 4th, nearly on the podium. And look at this, we get a Ricart versus Ricart battle to the line here, right at the end here. Who is it going to be?
They're not on the same lap.
Yeah, they're not on the same lap, so it is going to be Moritz that is going to finish ahead there. But Sirotech in 6th position, a bit of a quiet race for him. And Alish Danda, like I said, a solid 7th place for him. Roshovsky was looking like he was going to be right at the tail end of the top 10, but ends up picking up an 8th place finish. And Thomas Corney just inside the top 10 in 9th, with Thomas Hora unfortunately slipping back a little bit as the race progressed, and down into 10th position, just ahead of Stepanovsky. And Stepanovsky is indeed going to hold off Eric Vizzi for that 11th place finish. Go on, Stepanovsky.
Absolutely nothing left to say on that one. So it's familiar names up front with Michael Lehman in the mixture. Yet another masterclass from Lucas Podstata to take the win. Michael Lehman 2, Lucas Podstata 3, Michael Matuszek. I would certainly give him driver of the day for that incredible run from last up to finishing 4th. Lubin Moritz 5th, Martin Sirotech 6th, Alish Danda 7, Lucas Roshovsky 8, Thomas Corney 9, and Thomas Hora rounding out the top 10. The big shot cars coming across the line. A good run from Stepanovsky as well, starting 19th to come home in 11th. Good run there. Eric Vizzi, or what might have been, how many times we've said that sentence over the years. Jan Sikora in 13th, Hansa Reiger in 14th. Peter Kvarik did cross the line 6 laps down, but we lost David Pachada, Stanislav Senel, Martin Krejcer, Josef Vukorczyk, Martin Nedlik, and Peter Kajela. And Michael Lehman actually got the fastest lap of the race as well.
Wow, congrats to Michael Lehman, and of course, no surprises here. It is going to extend the championship lead for Lucas Podstata. 25 points now, actually, is the gap between himself and Lucas Podstata. Eric Vizzi and Martin Sirotech both break the 100-point mark, though, getting up into the triple digits. A little bit further back, you can see very, very close. We got 3 drivers on 43 points coming out of that race, so very, very close between everybody. And yeah, a very important point there for Peter Kvarik, actually. He was on 7. He picks up 1 more here today at Monza. For Entropic, though, it's great news. 43 points now is the gap down to the Pachada brothers in the ERT racing team in 2nd position. Lenovo Legion in 3rd position in a very close fight there as well. Big thanks to Chris Buxton for joining myself, Justin Sutton, for today's commentary. And a big thanks, of course, to the drivers and everybody tuning in at home and everybody behind the scenes at the Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.